the thing. It's Disability Pride Month, but I have talked about my physical disabilities ad nauseum. I don't want to do it today. G'day everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Madison Paige, and today I am going to be talking about probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. Just to put it into perspective and give some context, I say probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. I've clinically died multiple times, so there's that. I've spoken a lot about my physical disabilities, both on here, TikTok, really all of my social media platforms, and I believe I do that kind of as a way to make up for the many years of internalized ableism where I basically just pretended I wasn't disabled at all. But I don't really talk about my mental disabilities. I mean, I very publicly had a depressive episode on the channel last year, but that wasn't really going into specifics. I think I was making it more to help other people, but I haven't really talked in great detail about, you know, some of my other stuff. So my specific diagnosis as confirmed by 3 separate psychologists are persistent depressive disorder and PTSD. Today I am going to be talking about my PTSD. So my PTSD is quite complicated. For those that don't know, PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's quite complicated, not complex, that is a different thing, but it's quite complicated in the sense that most of my triggers and my symptoms stem from my childhood and my hospital visits, medical trauma, but some of it also came from a sexual assault that occurred when I was 16. I recently said in a TikTok that I made about a week ago, hold please.
About a week ago, fuck with us and then we tweaking.
I recently said in that TikTok that my therapist, after a year, has come to the conclusion, just through treatments and by getting me to do like test assessment stuff, that I have progressed far enough in my treatment that I no longer meet the criteria for PTSD in relation to my sexual assault. I still unfortunately meet it for all of the other stuff, but for my sexual assault I am pretty much okay. There was one thing that I wanted to continue working on her with, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today, and that was the location of the assault. My PTSD has a heavy reliance on avoidance, so I have spent the last 10 years avoiding this place as much as possible, and when I couldn't avoid it I was just deeply uncomfortable, and I didn't want to live the rest of my life like that. So I wanted to be able to overcome those feelings about that place with my therapist, and that's what I did earlier this week. Obviously it doesn't happen just like that. I'm going to have to keep working on it, but I did make some very good progress, I think, and I just want to talk about it. So the place that it happened was a local park. It is a park that both sides of my family frequently hold gatherings at, like birthdays, Christmas. Things are there, and like I said, I would go to those events most of the time. Some of the time I could not do it, so my mum would make up some excuse for me, like I'm unwell or I'm tired or I just couldn't do it. But the times that I did go, my head was on like a swivel the whole time. I could barely breathe. One time I gave myself physical pain with how tense I was, and yeah, I didn't want to keep living my life like that. So this past Tuesday, it is Thursday as I'm filming this past Tuesday I went to this park and had a therapy session in the park to start the day. No, actually, the night before I could not sleep. I didn't get to sleep until about 2 AM, and even then it wasn't like consistent sleep. I kept waking up. The next day I cried getting dressed. My initial instincts, I had 2 thoughts going through my head. One, wear an outfit similar to the one that I was assaulted in, kind of like I'm in this place in this outfit, but I'm making different memories, new memories. But I realised pretty quickly that was insane. For a first session on this specific thing. And then I thought, oh, I got a new dress. I didn't get a chance to wear it to an event on the weekend. I'll wear it today. But every fibre of my being was screaming not to. Because dresses are easy access. And before the 12-year-olds come and comment, technically everything is easy access if you're determined enough. But dresses are... I just couldn't do it. So instead I collapsed into a puddle of my clothes and cried. And I was overthinking everything. I was very stressed. Normally I dress like this, like cute little crop tops and jeans, and I think I look really cute. But I didn't want to look cute in case, heaven forbid, this man who did bad things happened to show up again and thought I looked cute. And then I thought maybe I'll dress comfy, but for me personally, comfy is synonymous with unkempt, and I didn't want to look unkempt in case again this man happened to show up and saw that I was still a mess. After 10 years, I didn't want to give that satisfaction. Spoiler alert, the man did not turn up, and he probably, like, there wasn't really any chance that he would. But your brain can come up with some pretty insane things. So yeah, I was overthinking and very stressed and just crying. And then my friend Bean, shout out to Bean, messaged me and was like, dark pants, purple or green top, don't think about it, just find those things and put them on. And I did, and I felt like I calmed down. Obviously I was still very anxious and nervous, but I calmed down and it was fine. I get to the park, I get to the place that I'm supposed to be meeting my therapist. My mum is with me, so I'm not like alone, but she and Ollie did go off to play in the park and I stayed where I was. Here is where the first sort of hiccup happened. My therapist unfortunately wrote down the wrong time in her diary, so I was like waiting there longer than I should have been. Therapist finally arrived, apologized profusely. To her credit, when I called her and said like, I'm here, where are you, she immediately rushed over. She immediately started going through the techniques that we used to calm me down. Another helpful thing was my mum just happened to be wearing like a bright pink jacket, so even when I couldn't like see her, I could see her. Like the woman made sure that she stood out, so I had that as well as like a comfort. And then the session began. The assault happened in two places in the park. We actually started at the end, so like the place that the assault ended, which is this gorgeous big tree that I remember. I've always thought it's a shame it's such a nice tree because I have such negative memories around this gorgeous tree. But I spent about 20 minutes sitting under that tree and just talking, and in the end, I don't want to like go into specifics of like what I talked about because that's between me and my therapist. It was really kind of easy to come to the conclusion that it's just a tree. The tree didn't hurt me. A guy did. And he wasn't there. And I was safe. And it was fine. Oh, I also had like this mantra? How the fuck do Kiwis say it? I don't know. But I had this in my head, this thought in my head that I kept repeating to myself whenever I was starting to get stressed out. I am brave. I am strong. It's just a park. It's not just a park, it's a park that I grew up at. It's a park that I have fond childhood memories at. But it is also just a park. The second place that we went to was where the assault started. Like I said, I went backwards for some reason. I don't know. And that place I'd actually never gone back to. Like, I have been around the tree before the session. My family, without knowing, had like a picnic by that tree once. So I've been around the tree, but the second place I have never really gone back to because I haven't needed to. It's in a part of a park that I don't really go to. But I wanted to, just to see if I could reach that same sort of calm place at the spot as I did with the tree. Spoiler alert, I did not. We got to this place and it had graffiti on it, as a lot of stuff in parks do these days, unfortunately. But this graffiti was my abuser's name and a phrase that he would definitely write. Now obviously I'm not gonna know, I'm never gonna know if this man specifically wrote it, but it's a pretty fucking big coincidence. This was actually the part that made me question if my therapist's conclusion that my PTSD has progressed far enough that it's not PTSD anymore was correct. Because I saw that name and I broke. And it's not like the name has always been a trigger. This is actually a little bit crazy. I chose a pharmacy that has the same name as my abuser because I knew that I would remember it. So like the name itself is not usually a trigger, but I think the whole thing together, the spot, the phrase, the name, all of it caused a really visceral physical reaction in me, and I cried, and I genuinely thought I was gonna pass out because I could not breathe. But then my therapist did something that's so simple but so powerful at the same time. She sat on it. She sat on the graffiti so I couldn't see it anymore, and in that moment the bench became a bench. Oh yeah, it was a bench, by the way. The bench became a bench, and I was able to sit down too and, you know, just talk. I also did EMDR. I used the hand vibrator thingies. I cannot focus on the light to save myself. But I also did some of that in both places. And like I said, the bench is unfortunately not just a bench in the way that the tree is just a tree. That graffiti, whether or not it was actually by him, showed that, you know, he could have gone back to that place. And in the end, I gave myself a bit of grace and decided that while I could not keep avoiding the whole park for the rest of my life, I could avoid that one spot, and that was okay. That was allowed. Other thoughts that I had were, I never go to that park alone. Like, I haven't since the assault happened, and even before that I didn't really go to the park alone. I just happened to be alone that one time. But I don't go to the park alone, so I will never be in an unsafe situation because I will always have someone around who can help me in any sort of capacity that I might need. I don't know how to finish this video. I don't really have a big inspirational conclusion. Like I said, I'm not magically healed. I'm going to have to keep going to that park and keep working on my thinking, but I did it. I took those first steps so that I can stop being an absolute nutter when I go to hang out with my siblings at this particular park. I just want to be able to have fun at the park with my family, and I am taking those first steps to do it, and I am very proud of myself. And I wanted to make this video to maybe help other people struggling to know that, you know, you can do hard things. It's fine. You can do them. And just make sure that you know yourself, you know your limits, you do it in a safe way, and everything will be okay. Eventually. That's it. Thanks for watching. Bye. Mother of God. I have never been messaged so much in my life.